Hi there. How have you been spending your second Boxing Day this year? Yes, the day after Christmas is usually celebrated as Boxing Day. That is, unless it falls on a Sunday, then the Monday immediately following the day is observed as the official day. So you get to celebrate twice. But guess what? We're not the only country that celebrates Boxing Day. If you want to know more, stay with us. We'll be right back after this short break.
A common practice while socializing, celebrating, or just relaxing is the consumption of alcohol. To some, this is second nature. All too common also are the negative effects that drinking has on the human body. While occasional drinking is not necessarily a problem, it's the excessive intake that can have severe consequences. The effects of too much alcohol consumption include blurred vision, breathing problems, impaired judgment, concentration problems, slurred speech, and of course, addiction resulting from long-term use. Now, these effects may vary based on a variety of factors such as how much you drink, how often you drink, your age, health status, and family history. Alcohol use does not have to be reckless. Here are some tips to practice responsible drinking.
Plan ahead. If you plan on drinking at an event, get a designated driver.
Shoulder.
Yeah.
Set your own limit. No how much is too much.
Know your family history. If you come from a family with a history of alcohol dependence, you might want to limit your drinking.
Remember, responsible drinking is a very simple thing.
Did you know that Boxing Day has nothing to do with the sport of boxing, or that it's a public holiday in many territories and has a religious connection? Well, get the details in this next feature.
Now, Boxing Day, also called St. Stephen's Day, originated in 17th century England.
It really originated in the custom of gift giving in England. Later on, it was extended to the British Commonwealth.
There are about 4 explanations as to why this custom was celebrated.
First of all, because working class people used to work on Christmas Day, the custom was for their employers to box up leftovers that they had on Christmas Day, and then on the day after Christmas to distribute it to the workers. Also, there was a custom where even people in church in 17th century England used to collect. They had a box and they would collect offerings and goods to distribute at the end of the year. Also, there was a custom where priests on ships would collect, they would pray for a safe journey and then collect stuff. When the journey was concluded, they would then, distribute this as sort of Thanksgiving. And then also working class people in England used to literally have something like an earthenware box. Later on, it was a wooden box. And they would save and then break this box open at Christmas time and distribute the contents so that people could enjoy their festivities.
So that means it was the container that gave name to the custom. And since Jamaica was a British colony, we adopted the practice. Later on, around the 19th century, Boxing Day became a public holiday. And of course, it was transferred to Jamaica in the post-colonial period. The day is also celebrated in New Zealand, Australia, Canada, and Germany, just to name a few. So how do we Jamaicans celebrate Boxing Day?
From what I observe, Boxing Day is really a public holiday, and most Jamaicans would go to the beach, they visit their families, and so on. I think we have departed from the traditional meaning and practice of Boxing Day. But of course, there are some people who still do charitable work, not only on Boxing Day, but also on Christmas Day. In any event, I can't imagine people in Jamaica liking that custom where quote-unquote better off people would put leftovers in boxes and distribute on the day after Christmas, you know.
Now, Boxing Day is not entirely universal. There's also something called Kwanzaa. That's the celebration that starts on December 26 and ends on January 1.
There are people who don't buy that Christmas story as it has come down to us through the church. And so Kwanzaa is an African-inspired alternative. And of course, we know that the Festival of the Lights or the Feast of the Lights or Hanukkah is celebrated by Jewish people.
Whatever their origins or inspirations, persons throughout the Caribbean and the rest of the world have their own unique celebrations during the Christmas period. What's yours?
It's officially 1 week before the start of the Easter term of the school year, and more of our learners are returning to face-to-face instructions. If you or someone you know is returning to physical school for the first time in almost 2 years, this next feature will give you an idea of what to expect.
Social distancing, that's a must. We must observe the protocols for COVID-19. We were visited by the Ministry of Health personnel who did a thorough inspection, and we got 2 reports that were satisfactory. That being said, we got the go-ahead from the Ministry of Health and Wellness to reopen school.
So far, things have gone well. We are seeing over 80% attendance of our students. We had consultation with our parents before we started, and most of the parents are on board with what is happening. They support the entire face-to-face reopening. And we probably have 1 or 2 parents who want to come on the compound because they want to see what is happening in the class, where their children are seated and so on. However, because of the protocols, we don't allow them on the compound. What we were doing at some stage is to allow a number of parents to come on the compound and to see what is happening in a group. But for the time being, we are not allowing parents to come on. They leave the children at the gate and we take it from there. Several protocols have to be followed when the students come in. They are met at the gate by a team of support staff, teachers. We have an infant department. Those students, the small ones, are taken down to their classes where their hands are washed after the temperature is taken at the gate. For the other primary school students, their temperature is taken at the gate and they are sanitized and sent to their classes. A number of our students would have been in the situation face-to-face before. The small ones and the new students are the ones who are learning to adjust to the situation. But so far the compliance have been good. We have the teachers and the support staff who keep reminding the students and encourage them to keep their masks on, to keep their distances, and to sanitize when it's necessary.
So some parents would have told me that their children have asthmatic condition. In that case, the teacher knows about it and will give you extra time to go and get fresh air, remove the mask outside and get some fresh air. Otherwise, the classroom teacher, especially at grades 1 to 3, they will take you out momentarily to get you refreshed.
the students are enjoying being out face-to-face, because there are some students who weren't able to see or hear from any at all whilst we were online, but they are coming out now face-to-face, and we are happy for that.
We try to ensure that we listen to the students and to hear what were their concerns, and so we try our best to meet those concerns. And the guidance counselor also would have identified students who were having challenges and seek to have individual guidance session with them.
I am very happy and grateful because it helps me to learn more. Well, during online school it was a little bit shaky for me, though it would be better if I was here where the teacher could speak and understand us in front of the physical space.
I feel the same way on online class as face-to-face. I like face-to-face better because sometimes the internet keep me out of the meeting and I miss out some important part of what the teacher is telling me.
First of all, I feel very happy to be at school because I get to learn more, understand more. I also get to learn a lot of things better. For the online, it's okay, but it's been very hard because I won't be able to understand the topic as much as I would as face-to-face.
We're happy that the Ministry of Education, the government of Jamaica, has allowed us to have our fifth form students come back, because they are the critical ones at this time and they need to complete their SBAs. They have a lot of work to be completed because they have been out.
Online is very difficult, and also the internet issue. Most of the time I hardly go at class because you go and jump off, on, off, on and off, on and off.
And when you get the work, sometimes you don't understand what's going on. When you take the teacher, sometimes she helps you, but you still don't understand.
To me, students learn quicker and better face-to-face. But then with the virus around now, we have to be taking all the precautions to make sure that we don't have any widespread in the schools.
Of the DRF in violence prevention in our society is to mediate. We believe that mediation is really a very good thing in terms of resolving disputes at the court level, at the parish court level, and at the Supreme Court level. Now, let me tell you about some of the matters that may come at the parish court levels. You and I live in a tenement yard and a fight. We report the matter to the police, it goes to court. The judge may say, well, you know, you are just probably a teenager. Go to mediation and see if you can get a settlement. Because if you can agree, then you won't have a criminal record. We urge everyone, call our offices, come to our offices, no matter how simple the matter may be, come to us. We have persons who are trained.
We need all Jamaicans to know that child abuse is not just an issue for the government, it's an issue for all Jamaicans. So we need everybody to help us to protect our children. If you know of a child who is being victimized, a child who is abused or neglected, just make that report so we can get that child the help they need. Calling or reporting is easy. All you have to do is remember to call 211. If you are an adult, if you're a child, if you are in church, in your community group, wherever you are, once you are aware there's a child who is in need of care and protection, just be the one and call 211.
Are you apprehensive about sending your child or ward to face-to-face school? Here's an option that you can consider, as we don't want any of our children to be deprived of an education.
On March 10, 2020, Jamaica received an unwelcomed visitor, the novel coronavirus COVID-19. Just as its arrival was unwanted, so has been its lingering presence. Its refusal to leave means our daily operations have changed. Mask wearing, social distancing, and online learning are among the new normal. Due to the threats posed by the virus, more and more parents and guardians are resorting to homeschooling their children so that learning can continue in a safe environment. Whether you are planning to temporarily or permanently undertake homeschooling this year, this feature is for you.
Homeschooling, wow, it is what you make it in a sense, because there is no strict definition really. It is simply a matter of the parent or guardian of the child being homeschooled, taking full control of the schooling, the education of the child. So that may take place in the home physically. It can be anywhere where the parent or guardian has control, but it's really you, the guardian, the parent, managing the education experience for the child.
Every parent or guardian who wishes to homeschool their child in Jamaica must be guided by the standards provided by the Ministry of Education through the Independent Schools Unit.
The Independent Schools Unit in the Ministry of Education has a mandate of registering and monitoring, regulating independent schools, and independent schools are privately owned institutions. We serve institutions that cater to private education for students who are based on the Education Act and the Independent Schools Regulation between age 8 to 19 years old.
In order to start your homeschooling registration, there are a number of requirements to be met.
We invite them to submit to us a completed application, and that is an application customized in the unit based on the regulations of the Independent Schools Unit. But in addition to that, we also ask them to submit to us photographs of the students. We ask them for birth certificate for the students, national identification cards for the parents, just to ensure that the persons who say that they are the parents of the students are indeed the parents of the students. We also ask them to submit to us the qualifications for the individuals who are going to be the tutor, just to ensure that these persons who are going to be tutoring the students are fit and proper to do so and are indeed qualified to do so. We also invite them to submit to us the timetable, because we want to ensure that though we do not have them give us what we call strict structure, we want to ensure that at least the basic requirements based on the curriculum to which the parents are subscribing to are adhered to, and recommendations for the parents who want to get approval for the homeschool.
Once the application form and supporting documents have been submitted to the Ministry's regional offices or emailed to isu@moey.gov.jm, parents will then be required to participate in an interview that will take place at a mutually convenient day and time for both the parent and interviewer.
All right, so as we would have planned, we are here to do your interview so that we can grant you the approval for homeschooling. All right?
For the time being, it is virtual because, as you know, we have to maintain the COVID protocols. So we do a virtual interview. And in this interview, we try to do cameras on so that we can get to have a look on the learning space and have a real appreciation of the learning space. We also ask them information regarding the tutoring of the students, the individuals who would be responsible, because we want to ensure that what the students will be exposed to, it would be tantamount to the standards that are maintained in the public system.
If the parent or guardian satisfy the requirements of the interview, the unit will then provide them with a letter granting approval to homeschool their child. If the child was already registered at a private or public school, the parent must write to that institution's Board of Management to indicate that the child has been approved for homeschooling and to request that his or her registration at the school be retained. But even before you do all of this, there are a few things you'll need to know. First, while homeschooling has numerous benefits, there can certainly be drawbacks.
There are many benefits to homeschooling. Definitely, economically, it is much cheaper. And you can design this educational experience to suit your family's needs, which is another benefit as well. You're not bound to the requirements, the objectives of any other body, any other group. Another benefit is simply just the ability to be more flexible, to, when we have classes, when we have other activities, is really up to the family, and the family therefore takes charge of how it spends its time, and that empowers the family in more than one ways. And you'll find that the children actually, because they're in a more fluid space, life can be organized in a way that is best suited to the child's psychological and emotional needs. Some children prefer learning in the evening, some children prefer early morning, and so you can tailor your educational experience to suit the child's needs. Some of the limitations, persons may not be aware of the resources that are out there available to them. Parents, guardians may not feel that they can manage the education program. They may feel overwhelmed. There might be challenges for example, in my personal circumstance where I have children at varying age groups. There is a challenge in a sense to split myself up to ensure that everybody is given the appropriate amount of educational time. That's a challenge. Another challenge is in relation to the parents who themselves may have other functions that they have to perform in society, whether it be professionally or otherwise. It sometimes can be taxing to manage all the different things that go into preparing for the child's education, administering the educational program, and balancing that with their own personal development.
If you are still sure that you want to embark on the journey of homeschooling, there are a few other things you need to tick off your checklist. But don't worry, here's how the Independent Schools Unit is helping you do that.
We, from time to time, provide sessions for our parents who are homeschooling their students, because we want to ensure that the students are given educational opportunities that are deemed to be of very high standards. And so we encourage parents to ensure that there's a quiet space, a space that is secluded for learning. Based on what the literature is saying to us, if the space is organized, then more likely the learning opportunities will be optimized in these spaces. They can endorse the space with probably a plant or some kind of a natural feature like a fish tank or something like that. And we encourage parents to have the children just be in a state of readiness for engaging in the teaching episodes. And we encourage them to have simple desks and a chair so that the children are comfortable. As it relates to the curriculum, most of our homeschool parents subscribe to the national standard curriculum that is used in the parallel system, in the public system. And so all the requirements for the national standards curriculum are expected of a parent who is homeschooling. So for example, our curriculum will expose students to information technology. We encourage parents to, as much as possible, to incorporate this in the learning experience.
For any additional homeschooling advice and support, parents and guardians may reach out to the homeschooling associations across the island, such as the Jamaica Association of Homeschoolers.
The Jamaica Association of Homeschoolers is simply a group of parents, guardians, stakeholders within the homeschool setting who have decided that we want to come together to enhance the homeschool experience for all of us. So we cater to the educational, social, and even the psychological needs of not just the children, but the parents, the adults involved in the process. So that could involve providing emotional support, literally, financial support, where needs be. So it is really a community, a close-knit community, and we also provide social support. So we organize activities for the families. I mean, it's all voluntary.
A homeschool policy is currently being developed by government that is to be reviewed by the Ministry of Education's legal team in short order. Once it is completed, this policy will be shared with all current and prospective homeschoolers. In the interim, for more information on homeschooling, feel free to contact the Independent Schools Unit or the Jamaica Association of Homeschoolers.
Individuals who need to contact the Independent Schools Unit, they can do so by telephone at 876-612-5708, or they can email us at isu@moey.gov.jm.
Our email address is jamaicahomeschoolers@gmail.com, simple, and you can reach myself, the secretary, at 876-317-9639, or the president himself, Shane Panton, 876-317-9643.
Practice good hygiene by washing your hands frequently using soap and water. Here's how you should do it while conserving water. Turn on the tap to wet your hands, then turn off the pipe. Lather your hands and the tap with soap. Turn on the tap and wash your hands, back, front, and in between fingers. Use some of the water to wash off the tap, then turn it off. Dry your hands with disposable hand towels. If you don't have running water, use a hand rub containing 62% or more alcohol. If hand sanitizers are not available, rubbing alcohol, Dettol, white rum, or household bleach will do the trick. And if all else fails, let hand washing and the handling of potable water be a two-person event. Each person will take turns pouring and washing hands with sitting water. Now is a good time to consider installing a tap on your containers to reduce the risk of water contamination. Faucets can be easily attached to drums, buckets, or 5-gallon water bottles. And to ensure that the outside of the containers are clean when recapping, disinfect it with hand rub containing alcohol that's 62% or more. The 5 R's of water conservation are also necessary to practice. Reduce water wastage by investing in water-saving devices. Reuse water at least twice before discarding. Replace leaking pipes, faucets, and other plumbing equipment. Recycle wastewater and use it for gardening, car washing, or cleaning of public spaces. And reclaim water through rainwater harvesting. We all must play our part to ensure there's water to combat the coronavirus and stave off prolonged drought.
That's where we leave you on this Boxing Day edition of Jamaica Magazine. We return tomorrow with another program packaged with you in mind. Stay connected with us on social media. We are available on our website, and we also have a mobile app that's compatible with smartphones. On behalf of the entire team here at the JIS, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Do take care.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.